Hey, what's happening out there? This is Halftime Prep Talk. HTPT is sponsored by Fannin Automotive Family. We're coming at you from Russell's Henry R. Evans Stadium, maybe known as the Hank.
It is now.
Zack Klemme, Matt Sparks, I'm Aaron Snyder, and we're going to be joined by guests TJ Maynard, Mitch Jacob McKee, and Jacob Martin here in just a little bit of the Russell Red Devils. Crazy night on Friday, wasn't it, guys? Between the lightning strikes and the heavy rain in some areas. Zach, you had to come back to Tanks Memorial Stadium over at Ironton 2 nights in a row. Matt, you were over at East Carter 2 straight nights. I guess I got lucky. I just had to spend 1 night in Louisa. Not that Louisa's a bad place. Rocky Stanley was stuck at Putnam Stadium for a 3-hour delay before George Washington and Ashland resumed action and finished up at 12:45. So my question is, if you had to be stuck for 3 extra hours, as Rocky was, at a local sports venue, what would you choose?
I think Greenup County's baseball field, because you go up to that press box and it looks like an apartment. I mean, they've always got real good food up there, and there's a place you could just stretch out and take a nap, and you hang out with all the hangers-on and personnel that they got up there in Greenup's press box. So that'd be a pretty entertaining place, I think.
It would be entertaining, that's for sure. Matt?
Well, Zach stole my answer. I was going to go with the Greenup's baseball press box too. I think that place is bigger than my first apartment. It's almost fully furnished with a couch, chairs. It's even got a big screen TV, so you can catch up on your show during the rain delay.
They usually have a live radar too, so you can see when the storm will pass, how long a nap you can take.
And I'm sure Greg Logan will, we have some nice food up there. He always feeds us well. We have games up there, so I think I would like to go there.
They always have a good spread up here at the Henry R. Evans press box as well. Some good subs and whatnot. Pretty good company up here as well. Rams Stadium, though, is a place that I wouldn't mind being stuck in because they have Chick-fil-A, guys, and that brings me to the Chick-fil-A ticker and the last week's games, just scores there.
That was a great segue. That was a great segue, by the way. That was great.
And this coming week's games. So pay attention to us, but look at the bottom of the screen as well for games that you want to attend this weekend. As for last weekend, it's time for game balls. Paintsville's Cash Daniel, guys. I got to go with him. I know it's too easy. I understand that. But between him and Quentin Baker from Ashland, you got a pretty good choice every week. But this week in particular, and we'll try to not pick them every week, although they're great players, Cash Daniel put his team on his back. And you don't see that a whole lot in football. There are certain sports, in basketball a lot of times, the Lakers are giving the ball to Kobe. The Bulls gave the ball to Michael Jordan. Things like that on a greater scale, obviously. And this is in high school football, though. A lot of times you don't see one player, maybe a Damian Harris or something like that, Mr. Football type, which is why Cash Daniel's a Mr. Football candidate. But he gave credit to his line, as he should, but he almost single-handedly won that game against Pikeville, and what a huge win that was.
Well, for my game ball this week, I'm going to stay right here at the Hank. And I'm going to go running with the devil. I'm going to go with Nick Conley. Big play, Nick, is all I like to call him now. Broke the hearts of Greenup County. I mean, he probably deserved it last week, too. Two great games to start the season. Broke the hearts of Greenup again with the late touchdown. His late touchdown in the 4th quarter. He had to go even the Wildcat. I think McKee got hurt in that game, so he even had to take over the quarterback duties for a little bit in the Wildcat. Scored a touchdown to end Russell's 17-game losing streak against Ironton. So I'm gonna go with Nick Conley.
Now we can't be at this field and keep calling it the Hank without mentioning Ivan McGlone. We could also call it the Ivan.
Of course.
So either choice is fine. The Hank or the Ivan, either one. We're gonna throw you a curve ball now in game balls.
Yeah.
Zack Klemme has a miniature soccer ball here.
Shake things up a little bit.
Why do you have that?
I don't know. Usually
it was in my basement.
Okay, that makes sense. We've always gone football during football season and basketball during basketball season, and we went with the baseball during softball or baseball season. But it isn't only football season, but it's also football season. Thanks. Boyd County's goalkeeper Destiny Goins has just played really well over the last week or so. Saw her Tuesday night against Ashland in a girls soccer game, and she had 14 saves. Ashland outshot Boyd 23-4 in the regulation and overtime of that game, and she made 14 saves, kept it scoreless. Ashland did finally get a couple past her in a shootout. But those are so hard for goalies to be successful in kind of that one-on-one setting. But 3 straight games: Lawrence County, East Carter, and Ashland. 3 pretty reasonably strong opponents. She shut all of them out 3 in a row during regulation of those games. And boys girls soccer team has talked about kind of making some strides, and they've had some rough years in the past, but they look like they're kind of making some strides and maybe being competitive and trying to get a region tournament berth. So
throw the balls away. Throw them out. Top 3 games of the week. No particular order here. Let's go Beechwood at Ironton. The lights went out in Tank Stadium in 1998.
Yes, the first one, which I guess the lights didn't go out last weekend.
They turned them off.
They turned them off, so that counts. Well, it was back in '98. Beechwood came down here, having won like 6 of the last 7 Class A championships or something crazy like that, and it's one of Ironton's stout teams that would go on and make the playoffs there. And Beechwood came down, and there were some issues with wind and weather and that sort of thing, and the lights actually went out twice, once right before kickoff, and then they got them fixed up about 9 o'clock. They actually kicked that game off, and then about halfway through the second quarter, not even quite that far, they went out again, and Beechwood had enough, and so that game was never actually finished. But the funny thing about it was that Beechwood had actually kicked an extra point to go ahead, literally probably a minute before the lights went out, so they're up 21-20 with 9 minutes to go in the second quarter, and the KHSA actually called that a win for Beechwood for playoff seeding purposes and that sort of thing, which they didn't turn out to need that because they pretty well dominated that district at the time. But so there's some kind of confusion about, depending on who you ask, who actually won that game, or if that game even happened, because Ironton and the OHSAA called it a no contest, but basically never happened from their perspective. So kind of a crazy night.
Well, given that the game finishes this coming Friday, who do you got, man?
Are we resuming the game from that point when the lights went out?
To bring all the kids back from '98.
Because that would really be great.
Yeah.
Just resume the game from
I think a lot of people would love to see that.
They would only be 35. It's like those alumni games you see from time to time.
Yeah, I'm not sure they have any eligibility left, but
that's all right.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Just do it for fun.
It's an exhibition.
Well, I'm from a small school, and I'm really familiar with Beechwood. Beechwood ended Raceland's playoff dreams quite often back when I was in school. Of course, they're tops in Class A again. They scored 48 points in their first 2 games, but I don't know about the talent level that they played against. Iron's a little bit, their defense a little bit different than what they faced so far. But Iron struggled to score the ball here in the first 2 games. In the sports, if Palladino is not playing, maybe Young has been hurt too. If they don't suit up, that could be really trouble for Iron.
Yeah, I tried to get an update on that, and as of Wednesday, which is when we record this show, I hadn't heard word yet if Desmond Young and D'Angelo Palladino, obviously that's a big factor if they're going to play. Given that they both suffered injuries, let's just take the odds there and assume that one of them at least will not play. If that's the case, number 1 Beechwood will probably go in there and handle them. And Ironton starting a season 3-0, or I'm sorry, 0-3.
Be a real dark start to the season.
There you go. Oh, well, there it is. And possibly, if you look ahead, they could start 0-4, Zach, because they play Ashland next.
Yeah, and Beechwood is no slouch. They've been state semifinalists or in that range the last several years because they were in the western half districted now, and so then you go up against a Mayfield in Class A, but they don't have to worry about that anymore, so their playoff hopes look a lot brighter. But they're 2-0 right now, convincing wins over Lloyd Memorial and Somerset. They got a couple of real solid backs. Brett Slusher scored 5 touchdowns in that week 1 game against Lloyd Memorial, and then Ethan Stringer came in and scored 4 against Somerset, and he's a Louisville baseball commit, but he's certainly very good at running the football as well. So, I mean, Beechwood's traditionally one of the strongest programs in Northern Kentucky, especially for its size, and they've got some athletes as well. So it's a tough task for Ironton, even at full strength, and if they're not at full strength, then I think I like Beechwood's chances.
All right, guys, so we all go Beechwood. Let's go quickly here for Greenup County Raceland. It was a 25-0 game last year that Raceland emerged on top, shut the Musketeers out. I don't know if that will happen again, but I do like the Rams still in that game. I think Greenup County is much improved, but I think they're still going to fall a little short when it comes down to it. I like the Rams running game, and I do like them up front just a tad better than Greenup County, because Greenup County's O-line is very talented as well.
This is not the same Greenup County team we've seen in the last few years. Of course, their defense is always their staple. They, at 25 that they held the Rams to, that was one of their lowest point totals last season.
That's a good point.
And but Jared Hunt is a different quarterback too. He's thrown for 4 touchdown passes already this season. He had 4 all of last year, so that's really opened up Mullen's play sheet. I don't know if you've been to a Greenup game. That big laminated play sheet that hangs from his belt. I mean, their offense is so versatile now that I think it's going to start hanging from the ground for 10 minutes longer. But I think I'm with you. I think Rayson's running core are a little too tough, and they're a little bit more better up front. I think Rayson just maybe by a touchdown.
I have a feeling Zach's going to go different.
I like Greenup. They've shown this year that they're maybe a little bit more mentally strong than they were in the past. I think they came in here week 1 to Russell, lost a tough game right there at the end. Greenup teams in years past, the trap game at Fleming County the next week, they would have shown up uninspired. They wouldn't have played well. They would have lost a game they maybe should have won. That didn't happen this year. They went into Fleming, they took care of business, they won convincingly. That shows me anyway that their heads are in the right place, and like Matt alluded to, they've been able to throw the ball a little bit more. That certainly is still not their strength, but they were able to move the ball a little bit through the air against Fleming County. They will need to do that to beat Raceland, and I like their chances of having a little bit better success.
And finally, Ashland at Russell right here at Henry R. Evans Stadium on Friday night at 7:30. I like the away team, guys. I like the Tomcats in this game. I think the Tomcats defense has shown a lot. You know, they gave up 200 yards to Drew Bowen, but he's an exceptional athlete for GW. If you take that away, though, they really contain their running game pretty well, and enough to win the game, obviously. And Quentin Baker factor, of course, you have to throw that in there. And you know, Drew O'Brien and Taylor Broughton, they're all over the field. They're the leaders of that defense. As good as Nick Conley, Jacob Martin, and those guys have been in late moments, I think Ashland pulls away with a win here.
I think Jacob McKee's mobility is a little bit in question, and I think that will play a big role for Russell, because Russell struggled to move the ball, certainly offensively, when he was out last week against Ironton there. Twisted both ankles in that game. Now, you know, they certainly are capable of moving the football. They've still got Nick Conley, and he just ran absolutely wild against Ashland last year. But I think I like Ashland's chances, able to move the football on really almost anybody around here. Quentin Baker is an electrifying an athlete as there has been in this area ever. So if they're able to hold him really to 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, then Russell has a shot. But nobody around here this side of Johnson Central or Greenup last year has been able to do that regularly. So go with Ashland.
2 for Tomcats. 3.
No, you know, you really can't count out Russell's defense either. Russell's got a stout defense as well. You know, Nick Conley, you know, can any moment break away. He's kind of a lot like Quentin Baker. You know, you got to wrap him up with that first contact. If he get past that first contact and get by that first line of defense, they're so great in the open field. It could be really dangerous. But that being said, I think I'm going Tomcats too. Quentin Baker is playing in a different stratosphere right now, and I think Drew O'Brien has had 1 year to think about that game, and I think the Ashland defense comes out a little bit bigger.
I do want to throw another name in there real quick for Russell. Jacob Pierce, he's made a lot of strides, I think, as an offensive lineman. He's just a junior, but he's 6'4", 215, has a lot of size, and I think he drew the assignment of Tyler Webb against Ironton, so that's a tough assignment to tackle. And so Jacob Pierce has really come on to kind of help firm up that offensive line for Russell. So the battle up front should be interesting Friday.
Russell had a lot to replace coming into this year up front, and they've succeeded so far, I think, this year.
Well, let's bring in TJ Maynard and talk about Russell a little bit more. Halftime prep talk, guest number 1 is TJ Maynard, Russell Red Devils football coach for the 2nd year. Coach, always good to talk to you, and thanks for letting us come out here.
Oh, thanks for coming, man. I appreciate you guys doing this.
Absolutely. First, before we get to football, let's talk a little softball. Your summer was pretty much filled with softball about every weekend, you said.
Yeah, obviously both my daughters play softball, and my oldest one plays travel, so pretty much every weekend we're gone somewhere, you know, with her and playing. But again, that's time for us to spend some time with the family before we get started with football, because once I get started, I get pretty busy.
Yeah, not much of an off season for you at any point, because basketball, both your daughters are involved in that as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how we kind of like it. You know, I feel sorry for the dogs sometimes at home, you know, being neglected, but you know, it keeps us busy. And again, you know, I'm really blessed that my girls are involved in sports, something that I can kind of enjoy with them and help them. You know, if they're involved with dance, I'm not too good at helping them with that. But softball, basketball, I can give them a little pointers.
The first time since 1977, so let that sink in, 38 years that you guys beat Ironton this past weekend. You did it, 18-14 win on Saturday. First of all, how old were you in 1977?
I was 7 years old.
Were you at the game?
No.
Okay.
I don't remember. I remember in '78 when they won a state championship going to those games, because my best friend was Mick Atkins. That's Billy Ray Cyrus's brother, so I was at all the games. Plus, Rob Tooley lived up top the street for me, and he was my favorite player. So,
okay, so that was the year before you really got into it.
So I mean, I might have been there. I just don't remember it. Back in too long ago now.
After such a groundbreaking victory, I think we can call it that. What's the recovery period like for you and the kids? After such a big victory.
Well, obviously, after a big victory like that, your kids are really excited, and you really worry about them getting focused the next week. But fortunately, we got Ashland, which is going to get our attention. Another big rival. If it was someone else, I might be worried. But obviously, Ashland's a big game for us each and every year. It's a big rival, so I think that being the case, our kids will be focused. I'm not worried about focus. I know our kids are going to play hard. The biggest thing I worry about is having those 2 Saturday games back to back, and just being 2 physical games and recovery time there. So we kind of took Monday a little bit easy, but got back to work yesterday.
In your 16 games as the head coach now at Russell, you guys have broken down the door to first win over Ashland since '07, first district title since '07, first region crown in about a decade, and now Ironton. How have all these big wins happened so quickly?
All that credit goes to the players and the coaches, the assistant coaches, and the job that they've done. They've done a great job of when we came in, changed some things. The kids buying into what we're doing and believing in our system and the way we do things. But all that credit goes to our kids and our assistant coaches.
How can you best describe running back Nick Conley's ability to rise in the fourth quarter and just come up with big play after big play in these important games?
Well, and like I said in the paper there, he's a guy that the more times you get in the ball, the more chances he's got to take it to the distance. In the game on Saturday, we lost Jake up there in the midway through the third quarter, so we just had to kind of find something that we could make do and gain some yardage, and we went to the Wildcat, which we hadn't even practiced this year at all. We haven't put it in yet, but we did it last year, so our kids remembered it and were able to kind of go back and do some things with that. But Nick, every time he runs the ball, he thinks it's going to the house, and he runs with a lot of passion. But again, you got to give a lot of credit to those guys up front and those receivers for blocking for him.
Looking ahead, I know you coaches don't like to do that, but Powerhouse Belfry is a potential region final matchup this season. Of course, you guys played them in the state semifinals last year. Is there any part of you that thinks, not if you were still at Raceland or anything like that, because I know you love being at Russell, but if we were just in Class A, it might be a little bit easier path?
Well, year in, year out, things change. It seems like you'll talk about having a great team, and then you'll run into someone else's best team. When you get to the state semis or even sometimes the regional finals, you're going to play very good teams. So again, last year we played Belfry in the state semis. This year with the change, we will play them in the region if we're able to get there. But again, you got to be good teams when you get down there, and we're hoping that we can get that far and have a chance at Belfry again, because they're a great team and they got a lot of guys returning. But we want to see how far we come. I think we've made a lot of strides in the weight room and our conditioning program. So see if we've closed that gap on them. That's kind of what we want to see. But again, it's a long way away. We got a lot of work to do between now and then to get there. We're going to have to go through some good teams in the playoffs. Lawrence County is another good team we'll probably have to face somehow. So again, we just got to make sure that we're improving each and every week and getting better, so that we have an opportunity come that time.
If you scan the field a little bit, and you look at some different groups, linebackers, front line, where did you notice maybe the biggest improvement from your first game to your second game?
Probably up front, offensive, defensive line. Again, after the Greenup game, we weren't real satisfied that we were real physical enough. But after watching film, we were okay, but we weren't great. But I thought last week, which we challenged them all week, would be a big challenge for us to match the physicality of Ironton. I thought we did a great job there. So that's probably the area we grew the most.
All right. Obviously the big game this weekend is this Friday night. Ashland's coming in here. That was such a wild game last year. You guys emerged on top 29-27 with the 2-point conversion and the big stop and everything. So the first thing I wanted to ask you, though, you've been involved in this rivalry as a player and as a coach. What's the difference in the intensity level when you're a player and now as a coach?
Much doesn't change for me. I mean, I pretty much, you guys see guys over here. During the game, I'm different. But again, football is an emotional sport, so you got to play it that way, and it's an intense sport. So I think you got to coach it that way. But again, it's a great rivalry. You know, I've been blessed to play in it 3 years in high school. Now I've coached in it. You know, last year I coached in one at Racing. I played Ashland at Greenup. But you know, the Ashland's a great program. Coach Love does a great job, and again, we're just looking forward to the opportunity to get back out there and play again and see how much we got better this week as we did last week.
What is the biggest difference in the rivalry intensity?
Just don't like each other. I mean,
so it stays the same.
It stays the same. But you know, but I think there's a lot of respect there for both programs, and I think that's the reason. You know, Ashland's always been a really good program. Russell's been a good program. So when those two kind of meet, you want to have those bragging rights for the area. So
sure.
that thing that adds to the fuel.
All right. Well, best of luck on Friday night. Thanks for joining us.
Right,
We're going to bring some of the players on here.
All right, thanks.
Okay, here with Jacob Martin, who is one of the big play guys for Russell as well. We talk about Nick Conley, but a lot of times, you know, Jacob Martin is involved in the big plays as well. You know, you had the big fumble recovery against Ironton in the win on Saturday night. You had the 2-point conversion catch against Ashland last year at 29-27 win. This team, in the last couple years, what has kind of defined this team is you rise in the big moments. How have you guys been able to do that?
Just heart, really. Honestly, it's knowing that whenever we got the new coach in a brand new system, we didn't really quite know how to feel about it, but we knew he was a great coach, and we knew it would work. We just had to buy into it, like he always says, and we bought into it, and it's just how it works.
When you caught that 2-point conversion last year against Ashland at Putnam Stadium, can you describe the feeling?
Well, that was by far the longest time it's ever taken a ball to get to me. You talk about nerves.
That ball was hanging up in the air, wasn't it?
Yeah, it felt like an hour getting to me, but it was about 3 seconds.
What about describing the play? You know, you pounced on the fumble, you know, against Ironton on Saturday.
Well, I told the guy in front of me lined up, we switched me to the other side so I could replace him, not calling him slow, but I was just faster, and I told him to switch me sides, and I switched sides, and I told him to go in so the lead blocker wouldn't hit me. And so I knew I would get there. I'd be one of the first people to get there. And so by the time he made initial contact with the ball and got hit, the ball was out. I was the first one there, and I jumped on it and held on for dear life.
Nice. How do you and your teammates celebrate such a victory like that? How did you guys celebrate?
Biggest celebration by far is coming back and sing the fight song. We do it every day after a win, and it's the best feeling ever.
And I'm sure you're gunning for that on Friday night against Ashland. What's the biggest challenge you think against a team like the Tomcats?
Well, a team like Tomcats, you know, we of course got to contain Quentin Baker, and with a player like him, we have a great up front line. So not worried about him running up front. We just can't let him make big plays. We can't let him outside and cross field and go back upfield. That's what we're really working on this week.
After the victory over Ironton, a couple of days before you guys went back to school, even though the game was Saturday night, you had a long weekend with Labor Day. What was the response like in the hallways at school, you know, just surrounding that victory?
Well, everyone was kind of shell-shocked, quite frankly, because, you know, it's Ironton. I mean, it's every year. We got to play Ironton, oh no. And so we came back with that win. Everyone's surprised, and everyone's like, when's the last time we beat them? We're like, it's been 38 years. It's been a long time. And they're like, well, good job. Let's just go make another win.
There you go. All right, well, best of luck on Friday. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Mitch Red, I got a question for you. How do you pronounce this name? And I'm going to throw my impression of it first.
All right.
B-U-L-T-Y-N-C-K. I'm going to say Boltnick.
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 Drew Boltnick.
Drew, I apologize for messing up your name. And I only gave him 1 sticker, so I have to say I'm sorry for that as well.
We gave him 4.
Should have given him 4 helmet stickers. Mitch Redden's going to tackle me for the mistake. He's taking up for you, Drew. So, Mitch, what a game, you know, against Ironton.
Heck of a game.
You know, Drew Boltnick came up with some big plays.
Oh, yeah.
He had a key touchdown there against the Fighting Tigers, didn't he?
Swooped in there, took that ball, dove past goal.
How did that boost the momentum for you guys?
Oh, it was just, I don't know, like, because we weren't scoring nothing on offense, and we really need that defense touchdown so bad.
Mitch, you kind of emerged last season as one of the stronger linemen in the area. How were you able to do that?
Let's keep working every practice. You know, last year I didn't play that good in the beginning of the season at all. Like, I look back at film, I'm like, gosh, was I really that bad?
When did it change?
I think probably after the Ashland game, I thought it started getting better every week.
Did you notice a difference in the whole team after that game?
Oh, yeah. Our confidence level was risen, and we just played better as a team.
Okay. Offensive lineman here, I got to ask you about food. What's your favorite pregame meal? Do you have one?
Arby's or Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
Those are my
Arby's
two
or Chick-fil-A?
Definitely.
Good choices. What about staying with the pregame theme? What's on the iPod playlist, the Pump Up playlist?
We got a different range of music. We got A$AP Rocky, Kanye, Travis Scott.
You know Kanye's going to be president in a few years. You hear about that?
Yeah, I've heard something about that.
You guys beat Ashland 29-27, a wild game last year at Putnam Stadium. Were you on the field when Jacob Martin caught that two-point conversion?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I just played defense.
So what was it like watching that from the sideline?
Jumping up and down, excited. Just watching that.
How much do you want that feeling again right here on Friday night?
About as bad as everything, dude.
All right, Mitch. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.
All right, Jacob McKee, senior quarterback for Russell. First of all, you going to play basketball this year? Do you know? I had to throw that out there at the beginning.
It's a thought. I don't think so, though.
Okay.
I thought about it a little bit.
Well, the reason I ask is there was a competition at one of the games last year, and you went down and had a shooting contest, and you were making about everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I've given it some thought, but I don't know yet.
The focus is football right now, and Jacob, I know you had a little bit of an ankle twist, actually a couple of them. So how are the ankles after Saturday night?
They're getting better. I'm just trying to get ready for the Ashland game, but if I can't play Friday, it's whatever. I know that there's bigger fish to fry in district, but I want to play this week.
All-area quarterback last year in the small school division against really stiff competition. That's a good group of quarterbacks right there. How would you best describe your game and your role and what you bring to the field?
Well, compared to the other guys, it's a whole lot different. I think Alex was the other quarterback, and he's the type of guy that's just going to stand there in the pocket mostly, and he can sling the ball over the field. And I like to do a lot of damage to my feet, so I have to, have trouble seeing sometimes because I'm short and stuff. But I make do with my feet. So
all these great wins over the past two seasons. How do you even begin to rank them if you had to rank them?
Well, I'd probably put Ashland at the top.
Naturally, the rivalry.
Yeah. And then Ironton and Bourbon County are pretty close just because Bourbon County was the regional championship. That was a great feeling. And Ironton and Bourbon, and also Mason County last year was fun. That was one of the funnest games, I think.
What was it like being able to be in the playoffs on this field every week last year?
It was awesome. It was so fun. The playoff run was the best part of the year by far last year. Just we had so much confidence, and we really felt like we couldn't be beat. And we played. Our defense was smothering, really. Landon and Bronson, especially last year, they led us on defense, and just we pounded on people last year in the playoffs.
Switching gears a little bit, I'm hearing about a report out there that Bruno Mars might be the Super Bowl halftime show this year again. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but who would you pick as the Super Bowl halftime performer?
Definitely Sunday Best.
Sunday Best?
Yes. No Bruno Mars. I'd go with some Sunday Best.
If you heard that chuckle, that's from Jacob Martin and Mitch Redden. That's their reaction to that.
Mitch is a Kanye West guy. He don't listen to any other country or any stuff like that.
Jacob, what's your plans after high school?
I want to go to college, and I'm not sure after that. I'm gonna go to college somewhere. I might play baseball or football somewhere. I don't know yet, but I don't know. We'll see.
For now, enjoy your senior year. Enjoy the rest of the season. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thanks. HTPT's Two for the Road. Zach, I promise not to drop any more musical lines on you, okay? No more singing.
All right.
That's not my one for the road, though. I'm going to talk about how you can manage a baseball team and how you don't manage a baseball team. Case in point, Matt Williams is how you don't manage a baseball team. For the Nationals the other night, on Tuesday night, and I know he's catching a lot of flack for this, he was booed at the end of his press conference by fans that were onlooking. And it's just not a good time for Matt Williams and the Nationals. This might be the end for him. He had Anthony Rendon lay down a bunt in a crucial situation late in the game against the Mets when he should have been hitting away. Nobody out with a man on first. Chances of a double play, I think I read, are actually 11%. So he was so terrified, though, of a double play that he had him lay down a bunt. And, of course, he bunted back to the pitcher. They turned around and got the out. So manage like Joe Madden, who says, for the Chicago Cubs, who says, I just get out of the way and let him play.
I like it. Can't argue that. Let's transition to football a little bit. It's already football season out here. It's getting ready to be football season this weekend in Cincinnati. The Bengals are coming on, and they're coming off 4 straight playoff appearances, but also 4 straight one-and-done games there. Now, to me, Marvin Lewis might have to be considered one of the best coaches in the history of the franchise, because just who else has gotten this team to the playoffs 4 years in a row? And 10 years ago, that would have seemed unthinkable. But there maybe is more of a sense of urgency this year, kind of reading the preview we had from the AP in the paper this week about there's 12 veterans there who are in the last year of their contracts. Cincinnati's put a lot of effort into keeping the same core together, which has worked because they've been right back every year where they started. But it's just a matter of, I don't know that you can call this team unsuccessful because they've not won a playoff game because of just how low the bar is traditionally for the franchise. But there's definitely a bit of a sense of urgency for these guys to finally come in and get it done. And it kind of may be a trap game Sunday. It's at Oakland. They don't play well on the road always. Don't play well on the West Coast. So it'll be interesting to see what they're able to do. But so it should be an exciting time certainly for Bengals football coming on Sunday.
I got to throw in a hooday.
All right.
Thank you again to TJ Maynard, Mitch Redden, Jacob Martin, and Jacob McKee of Russell. They play Ashland right here on Friday night, 7:30. Should be a dandy. And thanks again to Chick-fil-A for providing us some nuggets and sweet tea.
Yeah.
And for being our ticker sponsor. And thanks to Fannin Automotive Family, as always, their HTPT sponsor. Until next time, we'll see you again.